Welcome to Rally Argentina, regarded as one of the truly classic events on the calendar. A combination of stunning countryside and some of the toughest stages in the World Rally Championship. Argentina is round 5 of 13, the second transatlantic trip of an already packed season, featuring pretty much everything Mother Nature can throw at man and machine. All sorts of terrain, all sorts of conditions. This rally once again based just outside the city of Cordoba, which is northwest of the capital, Buenos Aires. There are 14 stages in total, spread over 4 days, more than 400 kilometres racing against the clock on some of the toughest tracks they'll face this season. As the action got underway, rough roads and high-speed stages promised to produce relentless action, and they certainly delivered. Norway's Mads Osberg, the first to suffer on the first proper stage of the rally. He hit a compression that bounced him off the road and out. Osberg soon followed by Mika Hirvonen, who missed a pace note which saw him attempting to take a slow left-hander flat out. Only ever going to be one winner, and that was the Argentine wall on the edge of the stage. This rally always going to be tough for New Boys Hyundai. Danny Sordo struggled early on with a turbo pipe that came loose. He did at least manage to fix it, although his frustration became all too clear to see. Sadly for the Spaniard, his engine expired in stage 5. Teammate Thierry Neuville didn't fare much better. He battled his way through the opening stages as bits literally fell off his car. But he too failed to make it to the end of the day, the team asking him to pull over to protect his ailing engine. However, the Argentine stages weren't finished there. Andreas Mikkelsen in his Volkswagen had driven superbly to hold third overall, only for his alternator to fail on the final stage yesterday. The battle for the lead proved to be equally compelling. Sebastian Ogier ahead after 2 stages, but in the 52 kilometres of Ashkachinga, his teammate Jari-Matti Latvala beat him convincingly, not once but twice, to end the day with a 17-second lead. Chris Meek picked his way through the brutal Argentine stages to finish the day third in his Citroën. This was an impressive start to his rally, considering his recent string of disappointing results. So here's how things look after a bruising start. Latvala leading Ogier by almost 18 seconds. Meek is third, Evan Evans and Robert Kubica 4th and 5th, all benefiting from a cautious approach. Mikkelsen and Neuville will restart in 7th and 8th place. Out of the top 10 and also heading back out are Sordo, Osberg and Hirvonen. Saturday sees another 5 gravel stages and a total of 164 competitive kilometres. This rally, as ever, presenting many unique challenges, not least the multiple water crossings. Always spectacular, but with the threat of flooding the engine. So New Boys Hyundai have come up with a unique system to keep the water out. As engineer Paul Murphy now explains.
So here in Argentina we have quite a lot of water splashes. And we have a co-driver operated system that he pulls a lever and it closes a flap in the engine bay to stop the water entering the air filter and, more importantly, entering the engine. And it simply pull the lever, and as you can see, it activates the wipers so the driver does not have to do it, and to clear the water off the screen, because there's quite a lot of water comes over the car. Also, when the system is engaged, we stop the cooling fans for cooling the engine, because as the water is coming past, it can break the fan blades. So hopefully with this system we will have no problems with the water splashes in Argentina, and the I-20 will have a good result.
So add a bit of rain into the mix on these already challenging Argentine roads, and those water crossings could be even deeper. A terrific atmosphere stage side as ever in these parts, and this could be a very interesting morning indeed as we first move on to the 40-kilometre San Agustin test. It was a tough day all round for the Hyundai team on their debut in South America yesterday, with both cars forced out on the final stage of Friday. But unbelievably, it seems Danny Sordo just can't buy a break in Argentina. Once again, the Spaniard is down on power and coasting through the stage. Eventually forced to stop and take a look at that engine. Danny spending as much time looking under the bonnet as he is behind the steering wheel this weekend. There is one I-20 in full flight though. Thierry Neuville may not have enjoyed his run in Argentina so far, but after rejoining in 8th, the Belgian does at least have some points to protect. Oh, but there is his stationary teammate Sordo up ahead. Neuville on his way past, but it is fast becoming another rally to forget for Senor Sordo. The onus once again on Neuville then to keep the new Hyundai team represented in the point-scoring places in Argentina. And the Belgian putting that sophisticated water splash system through its paces in San Augustin. Another driver restarting the second day after a late retirement on Friday afternoon is Andreas Mikkelsen. Thankfully, as with Neuville, only one stage was missed on Friday, so just the 5 minutes in time penalties for the Norwegian to recover, and he's already making a real fist of clawing his way back up the leaderboard. Let's see how the Polo R likes getting its feet wet.
Last 6 right minus, half long 250.
Oh, close call there for Andreas.
Last 6 right minus, half long 200.
Well, this aquaplaning aberration aside, it has been an incredible run through stage 6 for the Norwegian. Martin Prokop in his privately entered Ford Fiesta meanwhile is on course for another strong finish through the Argentine Pampas, 6th at the start of the day, but with Mikkelsen closing fast. The Czech driver would also discover that traversing some of these rivers isn't as straightforward as it seems. Prokop actually slipping off the edge of the bridge and very lucky not to damage the wheel. Argentina's famous water splashes certainly playing their part on the third day in the Cordoba countryside. The injuries Robert Kubica sustained in the horrific accident that ended his F1 career a few years ago are such that the Polish star is almost forced to drive one-handed at times through some of the more technical areas. But with this stage opening out into some breathtakingly quick sections, the Ford privateer is back in his element. Kubica charges past Elvin Evans to claim 4th place in San Augustin. While the rest of the field squabble for the lower positions, out front it is once again the two leading Volkswagens who hold the attention. World champion Sébastien Ogier doesn't take kindly to being bettered by his teammate Latvala, but for the moment it seems there's little he can do about it. On these sandy, rock-strewn roads, it seems even the bravest of the brave isn't willing to risk all to save face.
Sebastian, there's not a lot of sweat on you. Obviously a big fight now between you and Latvala. Can you put him under pressure?
That's definitely the target, but that was not a perfect start for us in the day. A lot of rocks on the road, and it's hard to push maximum on that. So of course I want to fight back for the victory, but not with crazy risk, with bad conditions sometimes.
We want crazy risks. We want you to push like mad.
Yeah, but I'm not mad, you know, there's a championship to win.
Well, we don't hear that very often from the world champion. Ogier almost admitting defeat with this rally not yet halfway through. Surely not. But while Ogier is hesitant, Latvala is heroic. Despite the ever-present danger on these rough but blisteringly quick stages on Saturday morning, the Finn is in his element, 0.3 of a second quicker than Ogier again. The lead is maintained for the first time in 4 stages. Latvala getting wet and wild, and a debut Argentine victory is looking increasingly achievable.
So Jari Mati's lead now fully 18 seconds ahead of Ogier. Chris Meeks still safe in 3rd. Kubica passing Evans to claim 4th. Further back with his first stage win of the rally, Mikkelsen has closed up on the 3 drivers ahead of him. Neuville remains 8th, but his teammate Sordo once again out of the running. Okay, there's much more fast and furious action to come from here in Argentina. Hold on tight. We'll be back in a moment.
200.
Welcome back to Argentina, a country blessed with stunning countryside. The pampas of the Cordoba province providing the backdrop for round 5 of this year's World Rally Championship. No time for rally leader Jari-Matti Latvala to take in the scenery though. He's keeping an eye instead on teammate Sebastian Ogier and the chasing pack as we prepare for another Argentine classic. Stage 7, Amboy, is next, where last year we saw Ogier's hopes of a maiden Argentina victory dashed as he went off in very tricky conditions. This year, it's even rougher. So let's now analyse a section of this brutal test, focusing on a 1 kilometre stretch to compare and contrast some of the leading runners, which will give us an idea of who's mastering these tricky conditions best. Here's the section seen from above. It's near the start and a great example of just how fast and flowing these Argentine stages can be.
Well, with one of the closest battles on the leaderboard, the three-way fight for 4th, that will be the focus of our attention through our 1 kilometre split. First up, Martin Prokop with the split starting at the banners up ahead. Here we go then, incredibly bumpy and rutted already through here. A strong result is already on the cards then for Prokop, Kubica and Evans. The question is, will any of the three make a break to secure that 4th spot, which would mark a best ever finish for all three? A couple of small jumps thrown in for good measure. Classic Argentine action here. The end of our split marker coming up at the 2nd banner in shot here. Prokop and co-driver Jan Tomanek with a time of 32 seconds. Prokop is 6th at the moment, but the man currently in possession of 4th is Robert Kubica, having just taken the position from Evans in the previous test. Getting a bit out of shape there. Here we go then. And the Polish star is into our isolated split. Let's chase the former Grand Prix winner through this challenging stretch of road. Really tough conditions out there again on these damp, sandy roads. Grip levels incredibly difficult to judge. Having done the hard work in the previous stage and moved ahead of Evans, Kubica is on it again. Here comes his time through the split. 31.2, so 8/10 up on Prokop. The pole's good form, looking set to continue. Kubica really having to manhandle the Fiesta over the bumps and ruts here in Amboy. So Elfyn Evans comes into our challenging stage of the day, just under 12 seconds behind Kubica. Experienced co-driver Daniel Barrett alongside. Just look how hard Evans is working that wheel. Seems to be clinging on for dear life at times. Let's start that clock. Kubica's 31.2 seconds is the time to beat. As he's shown time and again on his debut season at the sport's top level, Evans has a wise head on young shoulders. This is a 4th new event in as many months, but once again the Welshman's calm, consistent approach is paying dividends. Nice tidy leap into the air. How would Evans get on compared to Kubica's time of 31.2 through the split? Oh, that was close, but it is the M-Sport man who's quickest by just 1/10 of a second. So in that fight for 4th, it is Evans who is fastest through our isolated 1 kilometre split. Overall though, it's Kubica who has the edge in the overall battle between these three. Well, these three drivers have been fighting through our isolated split, though another man is about to flip the leaderboard on its head. Andreas Mikkelsen is at it again. The winner of the day's opening stage is back to his scintillating best through Amboy's 39 kilometres. While the trio of Kubica, Evans and Prokop may have thought they were scrapping for fourth, they aren't anymore. Mikkelsen has leapfrogged all three of them to charge into fourth place himself. So Mikkelsen is now just one position away from Chris Meek's third spot, and even with a healthy advantage of almost 3 minutes to your nearest rival, you can't let your guard down for a second in Argentina. Meek moments from another disaster. But the Citroen man lives to fight another day. This, though, was very, very close to game over.
Chris, when you get to a stop line, there's already a little chat between you and Paul. What was it about this time?
It was simply an oi oi oi. We had an incorrect pace note in there. We were quite lucky. Over a crest, I had a 6 left over a crest and we went completely wide into the bank. So yeah, pace note error. Yeah, I really struggled, but as I say, I expected to struggle on these stages. They're so difficult. I wanted to lose a second a K to whoever, and it seems to be like that, so it's all experience.
Meek's moment arriving with the Brits playing a safety first game. So imagine tackling these treacherous roads while fighting at the front. Sébastien Ogier declared his intention to avoid risks earlier in the day, but with just 18 seconds separating him from his rally leading teammate, you can guarantee he won't be giving up the fight just yet.
Droite sans bon, 40 mètres, gauche en 18 tarentiel, le gauche 18 tarentiel, 100 mètres. Droiti, pour gauche en 50 et 100 mètres frein, gauche 130 plus Milon Sable.
Ogier safely through the wild, bumpy 39 kilometres of Amboy, so it's over to the rally leader. Lavela, remember, hasn't actually beaten his teammate in a straight fight before. Could this challenging battle through the Argentine mountains be a breakthrough rally for VW's Flying Finn? As you can see, 18 seconds, the gap between the two coming into this stage. Keep an eye on the clock. Ogier's stage time of 22 minutes, 43.7 seconds in the green box there. This is quick. Another 3.2 seconds pulled out on Ogier. That is another fine drive from the rally leader.
So it's still advantage Jari Matti in the fight for the rally lead. Just over 21 seconds the gap between the top two. Meek remains third, but what a drive that was from Mikkelsen, up from 7th to 4th in one stage. All very tight still between Kubica, Evans and Prokop, with Neville there in 8th for Hyundai. Back at the service park in Carlos Paz, there was once again plenty for the drivers to reflect on.
Ham and cheese and coffee, of course. Ogier is a fighter, and he is not gonna give up until it's the finish of the rally. So I really need to stay focused and keep going with the similar speed what I have done. So there is no time, no chance to relax.
You seem determined to make it a VW 1, 2, 3. It's been a good morning.
Yeah, it's been a good morning. We caught 4th place very quickly, so Chris is still far in front, but we can see what we can do.
Are you surprised to be in the position that you're in?
For us, the priority, as I say, is to be in the finish, and it's not easy because already yesterday we have seen that everything can happen, many mistakes and so many rocks, so it's very easy to clip something, but fortunately until now we are running smoothly, and let's hope we will continue like this.
Nice and steady for Robert Kubica, keeping his feet firmly on the ground, while the world champion is flying, literally, in his pursuit of teammate Latvala, which continues after the break. Welcome back to the Xion Rally Argentina, where it's time for an update on the WRC2 support series. And after staying out of trouble and amassing a lead of more than 2.5 minutes yesterday, it was much of the same from Nasser Al-Attiyah today. The Qatari happy to reduce the risk and avoid mistakes. Behind Alatir, Paraguayan Diego Dominguez sitting in third overnight and inheriting second this morning after Ukrainian Yuri Protasov rolled his Ford Fiesta on the opening stage of the day. And completing the podium positions with one final day of action remaining, Nicholas Fuchs, the Peruvian, has had his fair share of misfortune here, including a puncture in stage 6, but a couple of stage victories today have helped propel him back up the leaderboard. Confirmation then, here's how it stands in the WRC2. Nasser Alatir with a 5.5 minute lead over Dominguez. He in turn 2 minutes and 17 seconds ahead of Fuchs. Okay, back to the main action now with Paul.
And it has been another fascinating day in the Argentine wilderness. The inclement weather only increasing the challenge, with mist and fog adding to the mix for the afternoon loop. There is still a long way to go before this day is done. Disappointment again for Danny Sordo this morning, but Thierry Neuville has managed to manhandle the I-20 through these rough, tough stages. The persistent rainfall throughout the day has made some of the infamous Argentine water splashes an increasingly hazardous prospect, though. Oh, and Neuville caught out on the muddy entry into the crossing. Tipped into a spin, the Belgian not afraid of getting down and dirty this afternoon. And his charge has been an effective one. This moment aside, Neuville has been flying literally as well as metaphorically. 8th at the start of the loop. The Belgian ends the day in 5th, despite a late transmission scare. One of Neuville's conquered rivals on his barnstorming afternoon is Robert Kubica, who has got right back into form after his recent problems. The pole, though, also not without his moments this afternoon. Kubica somehow surviving that close call on the inside of the corner, and he does remain on course for a top 6 finish despite falling behind the charging Neuville. Well, the Argentine roads maintaining their fearsome reputation then, and with the leading Volkswagens fighting hard at the front, it was only a matter of time before an uncharacteristically ragged Ogier comes unstuck. The Frenchman now approaching that deep water crossing that proved so costly for Neuville.
80 mètres, droite 130 bon long. 80 mètres, attention, gros frein, gauche sans plus, pas corde dure en guéo, gauche en plus, pas corde dure en guéo. Voici à fond, 80 mètres.
Oh, and he's made exactly the same error. A spin for the world champion, and how costly could this be? With his teammate already beginning to pull away on the Saturday stages. Worse was to come, though, for a bemused Ogier, a delaminating tyre towards the end of the stage, further damaging his pursuit of the leader.
Sebastian, 12 months ago you came to the end of this stage with a puncture. What's happened there? That's like delamination.
Yeah, 12 months ago I knew what happened. I hit the rocks, but this time, no puncture, nothing, just in the straight and the fast. Suddenly the rubber went out, and you see that the pressure is still inside.
So could that be that then, in terms of the fight at the front? Latvala came into stage 8 with an advantage of just over 21 seconds over Ogier. This second pass through San Agustin isn't done just yet. Incredibly, Latvala also coming unstuck in the same stage. The Finn could have missed his chance to strike a decisive blow in the fight for victory. Despite that sketchy run through stage 8, the Finn still extends his advantage.
This stage, I have to say big thanks to Mika. He did really brilliant reading on the notes, because it was really foggy, and he kept me just on the time all the time, and that's where we gain all the time against Ogier was in the fog.
Thanks, Jerry. Well, after another blast through the super special, Latvaler's advantage over his teammate stands at 31.2 seconds. Meek's lead over Mikkelsen still a healthy minute and 56. Neville up to a fine 5th, while there are now consistent gaps separating Kubica, Evans and Prokop. 10 stages down, 4 to go, and they just happen to be among the most famous stages in the championship. Join us again tomorrow for the conclusion to Rally Argentina.